So let me introduce Santosh, and Santosh is going to take you through the pre-transformation typical approach and what we might achieve through digital transformation.
Thank you, Clive. What you're going to see is a representation of a specific use case in the request lifecycle management before and after the system digitization and implementation. Let's jump straight in. For the last 1 week, we've been seeing rains, thunderstorms pretty much throughout. It's a bit grim. But why not use that as our use case today? So in our council, there's been a massive storm. Loads of trees have been uprooted and fallen flat on the road. And one such thing happened right in front of Emma's house, who is going to be our citizen in focus for the use case. Emma and her family are panicking, and Emma has no clue what to do next. So she is just going to reach out to city services. So first, we're going to focus on the pre-transformation request lifecycle. So in a traditional ticketing system, Emma is going to take time to search for the web form across different web pages of the city services and then finally find the right form to key in her request. As a part of her submission, she enters her name, her address, phone number, email IDs, and as you can see, it's a very painful task, and that takes Emma and such citizens about 8 to 10 minutes to submit a request. Now, upon finally keying in all that information, the request is received by the back office admin, but it's not actually an admin, it's a queue of requests that is waiting to be triaged. Sometimes it takes up to 14 days or more to actually get triaged. So here's where it gets interesting. Even before all that's done, we send a canned response to Emma and such citizens saying this will be processed in 14 days. Fast forward to an average of 3 to 4 days, that's when the back office admin would triage all these requests and then finally look at that request and forward it to the concerned team. In this case, it's the tree removal admin because the tree needs to be removed. It's fallen flat right next to Emma's front yard. Now, when that request is forwarded, the tree removal admin receives the request, and as a process, they have to send an arborist on site for the removal process. Now, it's not easy to just find an arborist. They have to go through multiple systems, Excel sheets, and phone calls to schedule, and that takes a lot of time. So fast forward 2 more days after receiving, only by around day 5, an arborist is sent for the tree approval. And as a part of their investigation, they go on site and realize that this is a road hazard and it actually needs the road maintenance team to chime in. This dependency delays the request closure. And while all this is happening, the request is put on hold and the citizen is not even notified. And when they do request for an inquiry on the status, they receive another canned response. Imagine the frustration Emma and her family are going through when they're receiving canned response after another. Now, because this requires the road maintenance team to chime in, the request comes back to the back office admin, who has to then create another request in the road system as they're not integrated. And not just that, the tree admin is going to reach out to the back office admin to get a status as to whether the roads team has done or not. The back office admin has to also deal with such inquiries. Imagine the amount of time that the back office admin spends on managing request inquiries from tree removal admins and citizens in this case. That's painful. Now, assuming that they finally forwarded the response, it finally reaches the road admin, who again has to go through the whole schedule of finding who the technician would be. And when the technician goes on site, they use paper and pen sometimes and click photos on their camera. That's going to double the time, and it's not a process where they're capturing information. They actually it takes time for them to come back to their office and then key in the information. Assuming that all that is done, they close the ticket. Now, by this time, it's already day 7. But here's where the domino effect kicks in, right? It doesn't directly go back to the trees team. It has to go back to the back office team, and then they have to triage the request and send it back to the trees team for the arborist to go on site. And that also takes another couple of days and a lot of scheduling calls to get there. When all this is done, finally the ticket is closed. But Emma is not notified yet. Emma is notified only after the back office admin triages and then sends a formal notification to Emma. And by that, it's already day 14. Unfortunately, this is one of the best case scenarios using pre-transformation or systems that are not integrated. And you can see that all throughout, the experience that your citizen is having is very painful and frustrating, and it's pretty much frustration all throughout. In the new integrated Salesforce ticketing system, we're bridging 2 key issues. Number 1 is the journey that Emma and other such citizens go through. We're going to have a citizen expectation management done via systematic notification on channels of their choice. And number 2, you can see there are a lot of arrows and crisscrosses all throughout. You're going to have a streamlined communication and collaborative system that's integrated and that's centralized. Here's where Salesforce comes in handy. It allows you to cater your needs using a scalable, maintainable system that has powerful APIs that can integrate with your system and your sources of truth.